Hello, I'm Guy, and this is Guy Robot. Hello, and welcome to the latest video in my blockchain Bonanza. In case you haven't seen all of these and you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm trying to do a video a day, just a short one giving a brief introduction to all aspects of crypto and the blockchain. I'm doing this because I didn't do any videos last month because I was away working on my new startup, which is called the Smart Investment Fund Token. It's an Ethereum-based ICO. If you're interested in more information on what that is, because we haven't covered all the topics in here yet, then do go over to smartift.com, link in the description below, and check it out for some more information. But today I'm going to be covering block size and talking about the big block size debate. Well, it's been a big debate in Bitcoin anyway. Different networks have handled it in different ways. But Bitcoin is a good example because it's actually an important issue. Fundamentally, each block has a number of rules applied to it, and it's only blocks that follow those rules that get accepted by the rest of the network. So, when it comes to Bitcoin, one of the rules is that each block can only have 1 megabyte of data in it. Now that sounds like a lot, but because of all the cryptographic signatures and the information that makes up a block, it's not a huge amount. Rather than just saying I'm sending money from here to here, it says I'm sending money from this previous transaction that I got at this place in it, and I'm going to sign it with this super secret key, and here's the public version of it, and I'm going to send it to this person over here. And that takes what's, John's name and Fred's name and 10 cents to being actually the hundreds and hundreds of bytes. So very quickly a block can fill up with dozens and dozens of transactions, and it's full. Now at the moment, what goes in and what doesn't go in is based on how long it's been waiting and a transaction fee. So that eventually, even paying a low fee, you will get processed. But there's a very real problem of that gives a defined capacity to the network and for a maximum number of transactions that could be sent. When you're in something like Visa, which can deal with thousands of transactions per second, don't quote me on that, it might only be hundreds of transactions a second, but a lot of transactions a second. And Bitcoin, on the other hand, only has a block every few minutes, every 10 minutes on average, and that's only got dozens, hundreds of transactions on, depending on exactly how they're made up. It's never going to scale the same. And that's a real problem for the future of it. So how do you deal with it? One argument is that you make it bigger because more transactions per second is the key thing, because that's how you compete with the likes of Visa and MasterCard. The flip side of that is that bigger blocks means more storage is required. More storage is required means more cost. More cost means that small people running a node by themselves are less likely to want to do it if they need to chuck at half a terabyte, 2 terabytes of storage. Let's remember you have to store the whole history of every transaction that's ever happened, and suddenly the amount you're storing goes up, your storage costs go through the roof. Well, who can afford that? Big entities with lots of money, and suddenly you take the decentralization away and give it to a few large groups that can afford it. Will a 1 to 2 megabyte move necessarily make that difference? Well, maybe not, but a 1 to 2 megabyte move only pushes the problem down the road a little bit. What happens to make a 64 megabyte block? Well, who can afford that, and how long does it take to send 64 megabytes across the internet? 1 meg on my connection is like that, but it's not on everyone's. So the flip side of it is that you're then potentially risking who can run the nodes and reducing the decentralized aspects of it. The argument to keep the existing 1 megabyte size by a lot of people is that actually, although there is spam going into the network at the moment, if you pay higher fees, then the miners earn higher fees and the spam doesn't actually get sent through the network and the fees aren't that big. The benefit for miners is higher reward. The downside for individuals is they have to pay more, and people don't like the idea that individuals have to pay more for transactions. Bigger block size means the spam can still get carried. And that's another argument against it. If you increase the block size, can you not just send more spam to fill it up and you're in the same position that you're in at the moment? And so there are very real arguments on both sides of how to move forward this. I mean, the fundamental problem is it's based on a block, and a block has capacity. So unless you really change how that happens to have unlimited block sizes that occur much more frequently, so it's more like a dynamic fluid state, then this is going to be a problem. And Bitcoin's arguments have been very public. They've made the prices go like that. Recently we've had the BIP 91 and 140 bait or whatever it is, 101, all of the different things for trying to solve different ways where miners have a say and users have a say, and whoever has the biggest say ends up winning on the direction of the network. And Bitcoin looked like they're finally going to go for an approach that's called SegWit, but it very nearly split, and it still could split the network into 2 or 3 different Bitcoins. And that caused the price to go like that at the middle of July this year. So, what's the answer to it? And the answer really is it's a limitation of the technology. And I think if we're going to have decentralized systems and we're going to accept the fact that this needs disputing to everyone, then you're either going to have to cope with some large amount of players with more money that have the biggest amount of control, or you're going to have to really look at the model of how blocks work and go, is the block the right concept for a blockchain, or is the block as we have it now the right concept for the blockchain? Or is it better to just have a continual flow of transactions that are still validated, therefore not limiting it to size, as some other networks do? Hopefully you found this interesting. If you have, thumbs up and subscribe. Let me know what you think below. Also, don't forget to check out my new crypto-based startup, Smart Investment Fund. You can check it out at smartift.com, link in the description below, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.